Saints 365 is a passion project to glorify God and honor His saints. This project is based upon the book, The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler.
February 16th, St. John de Britto, Martyr. Don Pedro II of Portugal, when a child, had among his little pages a modest boy of rich and princely parents. Much had John de Britto, for so he was called, to bear from his careless living companions, to whom his holy life was a reproach. A terrible illness made him turn for aid to St. Francis Xavier, a saint so well loved by the Portuguese, and when, in answer to his prayers, he recovered, his mother vested him for a year in the dress worn in those days by the Jesuit fathers. From that time, John's heart burned to follow the example of the Apostle of the Indies. He gained his wish. On December 17, 1662, he entered the novitiate of the Society at Lisbon, and 11 years later, in spite of the most determined opposition of his family and the court, he left all to go to convert the Hindus of Madura. When Blessed John's mother knew that her son was going to the Indies, she used all her influence to prevent him leaving his own country, and persuaded the papal nuncio to interfere. "God, who called me from the world into religious life, now calls me from Portugal to India," was the reply of the future martyr. "Not to answer the vocation as I ought would be to provoke the justice of God. As long as I live, I shall never cease striving to gain a passage to India." For 14 years he toiled, preaching, converting, baptizing multitudes at the cost of privations, hardships, and persecutions. At last, after being seized, tortured, and nearly massacred by the heathens, he was banished from the country. Forced to return to Portugal, John once more broke through every obstacle and went back again to his labor of love. Like St. John the Baptist, he died a victim to the anger of a guilty woman, whom a convert king had put aside, and like the precursor, he was beheaded after a painful imprisonment. Reflection from the Imitation of Christ. It is a great honor, a great glory to serve God, and to condemn all things for God. They will have a great grace who freely subject themselves to God's most holy will. St. John de Britto, pray for us. Also celebrated on February 16th, St. Onesimus, disciple of St. Paul. He was a Phrygian by birth, slave to Philemon, a person of note in the city of Colossae, converted to the faith by St. Paul. Having robbed his master and being obliged to fly, he providentially met with St. Paul, then a prisoner for the faith at Rome, who there converted and baptized him, and sent him with his canonical letter of recommendation to Philemon, by whom he was pardoned, set at liberty, and sent back to his spiritual father, whom he afterwards faithfully served. That apostle made him, with Tychicus, the bearer of his epistle to the Colossians, and afterwards, as St. Jerome and other fathers witness, a preacher of the gospel and a bishop. He was crowned with martyrdom under Domitian in the year 95. Reflection. With what excess of goodness does God communicate himself to souls that open themselves to him? With what caresses does he often visit them? With what a profusion of graces does he enrich and strengthen them? In our trials and temptations, let us then offer our hearts to God, remembering, as St. Paul says, "To them that love God all things work together unto good." St. Onesimus, pray for us.
Saints 365 is narrated by Rob Roller, edited by Josh Bach, and produced by Our Local Parish Productions. Funding for this project is made possible by Catholic businesses. Please go to the business directory at ourlocalparish.com to support these generous businesses. Thank you for listening. God bless.